V for the win. V for the win. What's up, y'all? I'm back. V for the win on this Monday night NBA Monday. Man, I just watched the exciting game, man. Pistons and the Hawks. You know, the Pistons doing some good things, man. Late in the season, we could see, the progress, of a young team. Um, you know, I think it's something to be said for a coach, like Dwayne Casey, that's keeping that team together, man. You know what I mean? If you look at it coming into tonight, the Pistons nothing to brag about. The second from last in the Eastern Conference. Um, at 17 and 47. 30 games under 500. You like, well, what can you get excited about? A team that's that far under 500, but Pistons. They got it together and won this game tonight. They beat a Hawks team. The Hawks is currently in the 10th spot in the East. You look at the Hawks got 31 wins, man. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, people try to poo-poo on it and say, well, the Hawks, they wasn't trying hard, or, when it comes to playing the Pistons, teams don't really respect them, or, they giving them a night off. Everybody played tonight for the Hawks except for Herder. Herder didn't play. But pretty much everybody played for the Hawks. You know what I mean? They fighting for their playoff lives right now. And to be in a situation where, you need to win every game coming down the stretch, it's under 20 games to go. Every team under 20 games. And if you come out and have a flat performance like the Hawks did, this game might cost them in the standings, as we get closer to the end of the season, seeding wise. Like I said, the Hawks are 10th right now. They're only 2 games. They were coming in tonight 2 games in front of the Wizards for that play-in spot. And the Hawks got to win every game. Pistons won. It took it to overtime. I'm seeing some good things, man, from the Pistons. 113, 110 tonight. I love the way Cade Cunningham is playing right now. He's hands down rookie of the year, man. Evan Mobley's been great. People gonna hold the Cavaliers in the 6th spot right now coming into tonight, 10 games over 500. But the fact of the matter is, Cade Cunningham. Obviously, us in Detroit, we have a firsthand look at Cade Cunningham on a nightly basis, man, and he can play, man. I mean, the guy can flat out play. He just looked effortlessly out there to me. You know what I mean? And what I look at in a superstar player is if you can get your teammates involved, you can make your teammates better. And it seems like with the addition of Marvin Bagley, who was great tonight, he had 19 and 10. I can't believe that Sacramento would let him go the way they did. But hey, we'll take it. The Pistons seems like we strive on free agency and we get the guys that's picked over, left for dead, so to speak. You know what I mean? The other teams don't want, Chauncey, the Ben Wallace is out there back in the day, Corliss Williamson, Richard Hamilton, we thrive, Rasheed Wallace, we thrive on that. You know what I'm saying? And to get a guy that people they pretty much gave up on him in Sacramento, man, and all it takes is a change of scenery, man, for a player to get the confidence, to get, just they swag back, if you will. You know what I mean? It comes a time where you need to change the scenery, and maybe Marvin Bagley is part of the future here, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now, you look, like I said, you look at it. We got 17 games to go. I love Isaiah Livers is getting some time. The rookie from Michigan. He had a big three, and Kay, if you look at it late in this game, Cade Cunningham found him open three. You would say, well, why wouldn't Cade Cunningham try to go to the basket, get a better shot, or maybe heck shoot it for himself? But you know what? He believed in Isaiah Livers, a rookie. He must see him every day in practice. Want to give the kid some confidence. He gave him a chance with an open 3-pointer, and Isaiah Livers delivered, man. You know what I mean? And that shows the ultimate confident as a teammate. To get his kind. Cade Cunningham say, "Hey, I don't have to share. I don't have to have the spotlight all to myself. I'm gonna give it to my young fellow rookie out there. Let him get some run and give Cade Cunningham credit, man, to always make the extra pass. It seems to me, this team as a whole seems like they're selfish. I like the lineup with um, you know. Killian Hayes at the point. You got Cade Cunningham can play either position. Marvin Bagley in the middle. Or switch them out and put Isaiah Stewart in there with Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey. It seems like they got something going here, man. You know what I mean? Going in, moving forward. Like I said, I think Marvin Bagley it should be a part of the plans going forward. Right now, players are auditioning for time. Auditioning for roles on this team. It's time to build, man. You got Cade Cunningham, who is one of the young, bright future stars in the NBA. As long as he keeps his head straight, no injuries. I feel it, man. It just feel like the Pistons are going in the right direction. Troy Weaver, you can't say enough about him to go out to get a guy like Marvin Bagley, to have a feel for that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to do. You know what I'm saying? Pistons are, a losing team, as we know here. You know what I mean? And you say to yourself, well, how can you get better? And you have to make trades like this, like they did. Joshua Jackson. From here. It's probably hard to get rid of him, but you know what? He give him another chance somewhere else, and we take somebody else's. Marvin Bagley was a top five pick, in the draft a couple years ago, and now it seems like he's got a home. Um, it just seems to me that with that lineup out there with Bagley, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, they can do some things, man. You know what I'm saying? As far as defensively, they got a rim protector. They was always undersized. Isaiah Stewart, he reminds me of a poor man's Ben Wallace. No disrespect, to Isaiah Stewart, but we get guys to fit that identity, and it seems like Bagley teaming up with Isaiah Stewart to go with what we already have. Killian Hayes hit some big shots, man. I wrote down some stats. Jeremy Grant at 23 tonight. Cade Cunningham was incredible. Another 28-point performance. 15 of the 28 came in fourth quarter and overtime. He shows that he's a money player. A couple games that I went to this year, in the fourth quarter, Cade Cunningham want the ball, man. You know what I'm saying? Sadiq Bey want the ball. They want to shoot the ball in their hands. Jeremy Grant. And when you get players that can switch out, that you could change your attack, you can call a timeout, run a play for Jeremy Grant, call a timeout, run a play for Sadiq Bey, call a timeout, put the ball in Cade Cunningham hands, and trust that he's going to make the right pass or the extra pass or a special play. You got something. The NBA is all about space, execution, 3-point shooting, decision making, and right now it seems like that they're making the right plays at the right time. You know what I mean? Granted, they still only 18 wins for the season. We destined for the lottery once again, but all it takes is one more piece, man. You know what I'm saying? To go with what we have, and I trust Troy Weaver is going to make the right decision. And bring in more talent. More pieces to the puzzle. Not necessarily talent in the NBA, like I said before, it's chemistry, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Philadelphia 76ers, switching gears and talk about the rest of the league. Um, Philadelphia coming in, they 39-24, man. Number two in the Eastern Conference. Um, 3 games behind the Heat. Heat playing tonight. Victor Oladipo is playing for the Heat. I think that's huge for them. These last 20 games, less than 20 games for the Heat gonna be it's gonna be huge because everybody gunning for them right now. They got 43 wins right now. 5.5 games separate spots 1 through 6 in the Eastern Conference. With the Heat, um, they got a 3-game lead. 76ers is right there gaining steam, and the Bucks, man, the Bucks are 40-25, number 3 in the Bulls. 39-25. That was a great game on Friday night between the Bucks and the Bulls. I got a chance to watch that game. The Eastern Conference is going to be super competitive, man, in the playoffs. And I think just that's why I said it was important for the Hawks to turn around and try to win this game tonight, and they were trying to win and they lost. The Pistons took it to them. You know what I mean? It's going to be huge because that game might hurt the Hawks. The Hawks might not make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Just because of this game. You know what I mean? When you looking back, you got to win every game. And right now, the Hawks body language don't look good at all. You know what I'm saying? It looked like Trey Young might have been hurt. Um, and so I think they're gonna have a tough time. Right now it's so competitive. New Jersey is they've lost the last four games. New Jersey's 32-33 coming in. To tonight's games, man, and New Jersey. I mean, sorry, the Brooklyn's got to get their act together. Brooklyn's 32-33. It's not to be tied with the Hornets. The Hornets is a team that is dangerous. I mean, to be super dangerous. Oh man, in this stage of the season, keep in mind we in the last stage of the season. When a team's playing good, when a team finds its rhythm, when a team get a key player back and institute them in the lineup, which Miami's getting with Victor Oladipo, it could change the landscape of their positioning. It could give you a better position. Um, I cannot wait to see a series. You mean to tell me down the line if the Heat played Philly in the playoffs? I mean that wouldn't be a must see TV, or let alone Brooklyn and Philly. We haven't seen Ben Simmons yet play with the Nets. We've seen James Harden go out for Philly, and looks like it's a perfect. And I was one of the ones, and I stand corrected. I was wrong. I thought that it would never work with James Harden. You know what I mean? I was one of the ones saying that you can't win with him. But you know what? Just like I said with Marvin Bagley, just a change of scenery. He knows the general manager already from being in Houston. The right chemistry is not necessarily talent in the NBA. Yeah, you gotta have you a John Morant. You gotta have you a Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have LeBron James. You gotta have a Devin Booker. You gotta have Donovan Mitchell, guys that you can build around. But you gotta have the chemistry too. Kevin Garnett. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie Irving. You gotta have the right guys. So I want to. It's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see Ben Simmons play with these guys. With like I said, with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Now you move Seth Curry over there, which I can't believe for the world, for the life of me, why Philly would give up Seth Curry at that time. But hey, it looks like it was the right move because Tyrese Maxey balling. Tyrese Maxey probably might win six man of the year. You know what I'm saying? And I can see why they would come off of Ben Simmons the way they did. You got that guy Tyrese Maxey ready to he's already exposed. I watched a couple games in a row. He scored over 30 in both games. Come off the bench, man. Tyrese Maxey can play ball, and Philly looking good as long as Joel Embiid, plays with reckless abandon the rest of the season. He may win MVP. You know what I mean? And I was one of the ones that again with Embiid, he had to be a show me kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Where with me, he'd have to show me because we know Joel Embiid's got the talent. We know he's super multi facet talented. You know what I'm saying? But he's got to stay healthy. He's got to show that he can be a leader and be serious. And now it seems like this year he has been in an organization. Give him credit. Give him Philly a credit. Give Doc Rivers again. You got to have a championship coach, man. I think in NBA it's important to have that coach. You know what I'm saying? And I think Doc Rivers is one of the most respected guys in the league. And you add Doc Rivers, you add a Daryl Morey, the GM, from Houston. You bring him over there, and it seems like they had a competent front office head coach now finally in Philly. And now, special things can happen. Give Doc something to work with. Now you got Joel Embiid. Now you give him a excellent pick and roll option with James Harden, have the ball in his hands, command the ball. Tobias Harris has been a little quiet. I've noticed in games, but that's a good thing. We all know Tobias Harris what he can do, and you add him to the mix. And like I said again, Tyrese Maxey, um, they got a formidable team, and Philly could get the number one spot, man. But I do want to see, Brooklyn when they're full, when they're healthy at full strength. You know what I'm saying? But time running out. You know what I mean? Brooklyn can't keep saying, okay, when we get everybody, when this fall into place, when listen, 32 and 33, they're 2.5 games behind Toronto, the Raptors, which nobody talk about the Raptors. They sit at the seventh spot right now, 34 and 30. The Raptors is another team. I would not want to play the Raptors in any playoff series, whether it's Philly, whether it's Chicago, or even I think Miami and Toronto would be a hell of a series in the first round. I think both those teams are probably identical the way they play. I love Jimmy Buckets. I love Fred Van Vliet. It just seemed like both teams got to bring their lunch pail. Gonna be, defense, gonna win, that type of thing. Philly, like I said, we're getting James Harden. The Bucks are the defending champions. They sitting there with 40 wins right now. They 3 games also behind the Heat. It's gonna be interesting to see where Milwaukee falls and who they play in the first round. Right now, they'll be playing Cleveland. Cleveland got no shot to beat the Bucks, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think if they sit right now at 3 and 6 respectively, I think the Bucks will take that. They probably sweep Cleveland. Cleveland not ready yet, and that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I think that the Bulls at the fourth spot, they've been sliding a little bit. They lost four straight. You know what I mean? The Bulls. Only thing I questioned with Chicago was they ready for big time. You know what I'm saying? We know how talented they are. We know how well coached they are with Billy Donovan, but can the bench hold up, and when it's time to play the big boys, can they respond? You know what I mean? And I think that's the only thing with Chicago. Alex Caruso and Ball have been hurt. I think that's hurt Chicago the last month of the season. They need those guys, man. You know what I'm saying? They incorporate Io DeSumo's played great as a rookie. You know what I'm saying? He's played admirable. But they need those guys back, man, if they're gonna be any kind of formidable challenge to the big boys in the East. You know what I mean? Um, just rounding it out. I mean, just looking at the Bucks, looking at the Celtics. My Celtics been doing. Y'all know how I feel about the Celtics. I think Jason Tatum, one of the top 7, 8 players in the league, man. You know what I'm saying? He's dude been on a roll. You know what I'm saying? Jason Tatum, the Celtics. They're gonna be there. You know what I mean? Depending on how this thing shakes out, they can finish from anywhere from fourth to sixth or seventh. You know what I'm saying? And I think a Boston, Philly first round would be epic. I think a Boston, Miami, first round would be epic. You know what I'm saying? I like the Celtics, man. Do I think they could beat those teams? Nah, I think the Celtics probably lose to either Milwaukee or Philly or even Miami. But I think the Celtics will come to play. You know what I mean? It won't be a sweep. I think that, when it comes down to it. Um, Unbelievable race in the Eastern Conference, man. Just watch these last 16, 17 games. Whoever gets hot, that's who's going to go into the playoffs with a statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we here. I'm looking for Chicago, to snap out. They've lost four straight. So I'm looking for the Bulls down the stretch. I'm looking for the 76ers to continue to get right the ship. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for Miami to see if they can hold that number one spot. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they're not good enough. I just think that the Bucks and the Sixers are coming, man. They're coming. The Bulls, don't forget about them. You know what I mean? The East is going to be highly competitive as we hit the last 16, 17 games. Now we flip over to the Western Conference. I said it before. I say it again. The class of the conference. Utah's kind of shutting me up a little bit because Utah, right now they're in the fourth spot. Utah's got 40 wins right now. They finally cracked the 40-win mark. The Mavericks been playing good ball right now. We know the three top teams. We know Phoenix what they all about. We know the Warriors have been on the slide. They playing Denver tonight right now. Actually, the Warriors 43-21. They lost four straight. Um, Grizzlies 44-22. You know what I mean? And then you got the Jazz at 40-23. And number four spot. Do I think the three big dogs going to change at the top? No. I think that Phoenix is probably going to get the number one seed. Could the Warriors get their 8 games behind with like 16, 17 to play? I think it's safe to say Phoenix is going to get the number one seed in the Western Conference, which is ain't. Listen, it doesn't matter if you finish first, second, or third. I think home court advantage, yeah, it's an advantage. You know what I mean, for to an extent. But I think when you got teams like Golden State, when you got teams like um, Phoenix, who's been in the finals last year, I think that home court advantage means little to nothing. To be honest with you, because I think if a team is better, they'll beat you on any court. You know what I mean? I just cannot wait to see this Western Conference shakeout with Phoenix. I just hopefully Phoenix and Golden State make it to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? But John Morant's got something to say. I listen. I think that John Morant's the MVP of the league right now. You know what I mean? Joel Embiid's a close second. You know what I mean? Giannis is always up there. As well as he's played. Steph Curry. You can't disrespect Steph Curry. You can even put Devin Booker's in that conversation. Chris Paul before he got hurt. But listen, John Morant, he's got the Grizzlies finishing. They're in a third spot after 66 games in the Western Conference. I mean, John Morant, if you haven't seen John Morant play ball, man, it's just to the point now where he is must see TV. You know what I mean? You tune in because you know it's going to be a wow factor. When number 12 gets the rock and he's coming up the lane and he's coming down the wing and he's either going to make a spectacular find and find somebody and they're going to find him. He'll go get it. He'll um, drive to the basket either hand. He is the most dynamic player in the league right now. And he's got that team believing, man, they can beat anybody. That's what you want in your superstar player. You know what I'm saying? And then I like it even more, being from Detroit. We thrive on blue collar teams and, the whole superstar route, even though John Morant crushes that notion because he is a superstar. But the team around him, just a bunch of guys, just seem like they love to play. They love playing with him, and they'll do anything to win, man. Desmond Bain, that guy is who would want him? Who would want Brandon Clark on their team? Who wouldn't want Jaren Jackson Jr.? Who wouldn't want these Steven Adams, man? It just Memphis is set up, to do some special things, especially in the play. And to have Steven Adams, I think was huge, man. You know what I mean? And John Morant, I remember they made it to the playing game and lost. You know what I'm saying? And they know how it feels to be there. And in testament, it catapulted them to this year, where they were right now they're in position to get one of the top home court spots in the Western Conference. Yeah, they're only 2.5 in front of Utah, and they're 4 games in front of Phoenix. I'm sorry, the Mavericks and the Nuggets right now. You know what I mean? But I think they're gonna hold them off. You know what I mean? We'll see how it go. You know what I mean? I didn't check and see how many games at hand they have against those teams right now. I would love to see the Grizzlies and the Jazz play it out. Even in the playoffs to have Donovan Mitchell man go against John Morant. That's just something that you would just love to see. If you had your wish, you would say, well, I would love to see John Morant play Donovan Mitchell or Luca, or I would love to see a playoff series with John Morant and Steph Curry. Who would want to see that? You would want to see John Morant play um, a Devin Booker. You know what I mean? He's a superstar, man. You know what I'm saying? And right now, MVP for me, John Morant. I would go obviously Steph Curry from where they finished last year to number 2 in the West right now. You gotta give Steph Curry. You can't leave him out of the MVP. But Joel Embiid has just been a monster all season, man. And you know what I mean. And then with Philly, it all depends on how these teams finish. I think it's going to be instrumental in the MVP race. But right now, it's a 3-man race, in my opinion. You know what I mean. Morant, Curry, and Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying? You could put Giannis in there, you know what I'm saying, which he deserved to be, but I think it's a 3-man race, man. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to win back to back MVPs. It has been done, but it's gonna be hard, man. You know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to Giannis, but man, you gotta reward a team like Memphis, who everybody knows Milwaukee's good already. Heck, they didn't defending champions, but if John Morant and that Memphis team continue to be as good as they have, you can't deny them, man. You can't deny the star factor, the wow factor. the ooh factor, the ESPN highlight reel, whatever you want to call it. John Morant's got it all, man, and I think he's got Memphis sitting pretty right now. Um, you look at the bottom half. Minnesota is number 7 right now. The Timberwolves are a very young team, and they have Anthony Edwards on their squad, and it's like they got a bunch of Carl Anthony Towns, which you say to yourself, man, he still play for Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? But you surprised that he's still around, but you know what? He's kind of the leader of that team, man. You know what I mean? Right now, you know what I mean. And you kind of, when you have a young team, it's important to have a bona fide veteran that other players will respect. And I think that Cat at this point of his career, he can command he can be that voice of reason in the locker room with the young guys. You know what I'm saying? And even though he's not that old himself, but I do think that he's been around the block, so he can kind of show these guys how to conduct themselves a little bit. And their team as a whole, not spectacular, not great. You know what I mean? When you look up and down the roster, but Minnesota, heck, that's where they sit. Good coaching. Minnesota gonna be formidable. You know what I mean? But I think ultimately, like Cleveland, Minnesota reminds me of Cleveland. You know what I mean? Yeah, they had a nice season. They look cute. But I think ultimately in their first round, I think they're gonna get beat. Whoever they draw in the first round. The Clippers, who I want to talk about, Clippers 8th spot right now. Hats off to Reggie Jackson, man. Reggie Jackson's played great. The last mostly all year. He's almost darn near carried that team with no Kawhi, no Paul George. And I'll give Reggie Jackson credit, man. He's been much maligned in his career, been traded a couple times, but I think that ultimately he's shown that he can be a leader of a team, and I think he had to grow in that position. And right now, he's got the Clippers primed to make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You want to get out of that 8th spot, and right now the Clippers are in the 8th spot. You know what I'm saying? You want to get out of that 9, 10, 11 range right now with the other teams that's fighting for that play-in. But the Clippers right now are 4.5 in front of the Lakers, and I think the Clippers, safe to say, the Lakers probably going to get that 7th spot. The Lakers, on the other hand, it's been well documented this whole season. The Lakers are 7 games under 500. We've seen an incredible performance by LeBron James again, which he constantly just defies, all the narratives on a player being at a certain age when he doesn't play at a high level. And, you could say he washed up, or you could say, when is it going to be his time? Because Father Time is undefeated. That's what the old saying is. But I think LeBron James has just defied all odds, man. You know what I'm saying? To me, he has nothing else more to prove. I think LeBron James, like I said, if he gets that if he becomes an all-time leading scorer, it's enough said, man. LeBron James is to see what he did on Saturday night. That performance he put on was just to show everybody he can still do it, man. And I think, yes, in any playoff series, LeBron James, we've seen this before with LeBron. You know what I mean? We've seen him on teams where he's had to carry him. Obviously, his age, and he couldn't. Obviously, he couldn't keep that up for the rest of the season, and through the playoffs, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I think the other players around him, know the situation, and I think that makes the situation more stressful. You know what I'm saying? More like, the spotlight is on him, which, hey, you in LA, you know what I'm saying? You have won a championship. To have Malik Monk. Malik Monk's played great. He's been the one guy that they can count on. Carmelo has also been a constant. I just feel bad for Carmelo because I want to see Carmelo win, and it's like he go to LA in hopes of everything being right, and then he can come in, contribute, do his thing, and get his ring, which he deserves, but it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And now it's almost like I wish Carmelo was in Philly, or, you name a team, that's in contention of Memphis right now. Who you tell me those teams wouldn't welcome him with open arms. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he went to LA, and now it's not going to work out. You know what I'm saying? LA is a shell of themselves. You know what I'm saying? The team that won a couple years ago, that team is long gone right now. You know what I'm saying? It's questions with Anthony Davis. It's definitely questions with Russell Westbrook. What is this team going to do moving forward? You know what I'm saying? Because we know this year, yeah, hey, they're a game and a half in front of Pelicans. For one of the playoff spots, which is going to be dreadful. It doesn't matter because neither Lakers, Pelicans, Blazers, none of those teams can beat any of the top three teams. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get manhandled. In my opinion, I think they're gonna smash. Um, and I hate to say it, as I'm a LeBron guy. Everybody that know me, they know I'm a LeBron guy, and it pains me to say it. It pains me to say to LeBron, they ain't nothing coming this year, man. I think Anthony Davis let them down. You know, just my opinion. I just think that losing Kyle Kuzma was more valuable than they thought. You know what I'm saying? Montrezl Harrell, who he was only there for a year, so I don't think he was really a factor in them losing him. But I think KCP gives them that wing defense, which they've been lacking. You know what I'm saying? Going to the basket. They get beat a lot going to the basket. KCP used to cut that lane off. Um, to lose a like Caruso, just showing. I mean, yeah, he wasn't like a superstar with the Lakers, but you gotta have guys that with chemistry that can fill a role, that could be side by side with the superstar player, and know that he can be trusted. Alex Caruso was a guy that fit that role, man, and losing them guys and not replacing those guys and putting the guys that they did, or Dwight Howard, who's kind of like, okay, that wasn't a good move. Russell Westbrook, for whatever reason, that hasn't worked out. You know what I'm saying? People blaming the coach. I think Vogel is a decent coach. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's won a championship, so yeah, he's better than average. But I think that again, you got to have the right coach to bring the personalities together. But then on the other hand, I think that this team is well over his head this year. You know what I mean? And LeBron James probably more disappointed than anybody because he assembled this team. You know what I mean? And to see LeBron having to score 50, 40, 30 plus a night. I mean, it's just too taxing to have to carry a team and it be like you barely winning. You know what I'm saying? Even if you score 40, you're barely gonna win that game, and that's what the Lakers problem. No ball movement. No one can hit any shots. It's getting bad when Austin Reeves is out there, when you're putting him out there to just make a shot. You know what I'm saying? And Malik Monk, like I said, he's been a one bright spot. He's showing me, raised my eyebrows, like, man, this kid can play ball, man. You know what I mean? He's been the one guy that's flourished, and like I said, Carmelo Anthony, that always comes in. He always does his thing, and we've come to realize that the whole Carmelo Anthony narrative of him being washed up, that was false. You know what I'm saying? Because now Carmelo's played good for what, 3 years now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, let's just squash that right now. You know what I'm saying? Because make no mistake about it, I think Carmelo would be great on a championship team right now. You know what I'm saying? And again, help somebody get over the hump. But right now he's stuck in LA with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he's stuck, but it's just you get my drift. It's just like he on that team, and just thinking you can win a championship and then turn around and disappoint like that. It's got to be disappointing for those guys, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, Phoenix, the Warriors, the Grizzlies. It's a three-man race in the West. Period. If you want to throw Utah with it, I'm with it because they got Donovan Mitchell. They got a good coach in Quinn Snyder. They got a decent team. You know what I'm saying? I think that they're right there. Um, you can put Dallas, like I said, Dallas is fifth. The Nuggets coming in at sixth with 38 wins. The Timberwolves and the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? That's how the West gonna shake out. I think the West is more clear cut of who's good and who's not, as opposed to the Eastern Conference. I think it's gonna have to play out during the playoffs. That who's really better than who, because right now they're all bunched up. Again, as we recap this show tonight, we seen the Pistons, man. You know what I'm saying? Very encouraged about what the Pistons are doing right now. Like I said, I've been saying all season, give me 30 wins. They got 18 right now. Again, they win tonight, beating the Hawks in overtime, 113, 110. I love the direction they're going in right now. It just seems like now they figured it's beauty to see when a team finally figures out what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Buying into the coach, buying into the system. Looks like Cade Cunningham is just going out there and playing. He's not even forcing it and scoring 20. So I mean, it's something to be said for that. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes out. The Big Ten tournament's coming up this week. March Madness in full swing. Our teams, Michigan, Michigan State. Um, I got to check Oakland and make sure see where they're at in their tournament. But hopefully both Michigan State get in the tournament. I think the Big Ten will be well represented. Illinois is a really good team. You know what I mean. Wisconsin, won the Big Ten regular season, so they're going to be tough. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if Wisconsin plays Michigan. Somewhere down the line, maybe this postseason, whether the Big Ten tournament or maybe the NCAA tournament. It'd be very interesting to see after the Juwan Howard and Greg Gard incident. You know what I'm saying? To see, like I said, it's over. There's nothing more to be said, but I think it does add fuel to the fire a little bit. Hats off to Martelli for coaching Michigan, man, getting them in because they could have easily folded the season without Juwan Howard and been out of it altogether. But you know what? To come back and win, three out of the last five games, and then obviously beating Ohio State to kind of get in the tournament, I think that was huge, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially without their leader out there. Hats off to the Michigan War and hats off to State because they lost the game before and then they beat Maryland to kind of round out the season. So we're looking forward to the Big Ten tournament to see where these guys going to end up. Where our fan bases are going to you know start off March Madness. Best time of year right now. We're waiting for baseball. Baseball has the lockout going on right now. I think as each day goes by, we get closer to spring, and hopefully it don't last past the spring, past March. Then we're gonna be really missing games in the summertime where we like to, go check out baseball. So hopefully our Tigers will be on the field. It's interesting to see with the Tigers this year. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how their young prospects start to come into shape. And on that note, it's V for the win. Signing off on the NBA Monday. Pistons win, V for the win. Pistons win, V for the win. Good night, y'all.